Can you imagine how a centipede looks like a snake skeleton come to life? Those little legs look like the ribs and stuff. They thought of a snake's bones come to life as a centipede. And so this guy's holding a two-headed centipede. And out of the mouth of this snake is coming this blue guy. We'll see more of him. Here's two stelae from Copan, the great city in Honduras. These are 13 or 14 feet high. They're twice as tall as we are. And you can see that the guy's facing us. You can see his feet. You can see his hands are in that crab claw position. These are two different monuments. He's wearing different headdresses in each case. You can see that this guy's serpent bar, which I painted green, this guy's I painted blue, and the guy coming out of the mouth of the serpent is red. Okay? The serpent bar represents, like I said, the ecliptic, the movement of the planets. The king represents the Milky Way and the saber tree. He's connecting earth and heaven. And the serpent bar, out of the mouth of the serpent comes a vision.
Question.
Yes?
Are they carved out of sandstone or coral?
They're carved out of sandstone. There's no coral sculptures of any size as far as I know. I know the coral was used in Florida. But this particular stone, actually in Copan, this greenish stone is a kind of volcanic rock. But elsewhere in Maya land, it's either sandstone, in Quirigua, for instance. The monuments that they've reproduced in the Museum of Man are copies of sandstone sculptures. And those are the biggest ones we have, as big as 30 feet high. But most of them are about life size, and they're carved of limestone, which is pretty soft. Limestone you can carve with a pocket knife. It's nice material to carve. And out of the mouth of this snake is coming a guy with a yellow sun sign on his forehead. I painted him red. He's the god of the sun. Out of the mouth of this guy comes two people whom I don't recognize, a pair of gods. They're different from each other. Out of the mouth of this god, which has a kind of a body of a snake, looks like it's not got no skin on it, is coming two guys we call the paddlers. The paddler gods are in this text. This is the jaguar paddler, and this is the stingray spine paddler. See the stingray spine paddler? You can see the little thing in his nose? There. That is, has anybody here been stung by a stingray? Anybody know anybody that has? How would you describe the sting of a stingray?
Excruciating.
Excruciating. It's a stinger about this long. It's made of hard bone, and it's got a little poison on it, so it hurts for a couple of days. Doesn't kill usually, although it did kill the crocodile hunter, right? It went right into his heart. But a stingray spine was used by the Maya as a bloodletting tool. They liked to stab their tender parts of their body with this thing because the stingray spine comes from a creature that lives very close to the edge of the earth and the edge of the water. Right? It swims around the shallow water. It's what we call a liminal creature. And liminal creatures were very sacred. And also this spine is designed to puncture you and make you bleed. So they thought, this is cool. They collected them. So this guy's got a stingray spine through his nose. And his brother here, you can't see, but his cheek has got spots on it. He's got jaguar skin on his spots, on his cheek. These guys are paddlers. They paddle the canoe that takes the dead to the underworld across the Maya version of the river Styx. And this vision, what's that?
How do you really know what those things, I mean, you know.
That's a good question. That's an excellent question, and you're going to have to trust me on this. There are chapters in many. There are many books about interpreting these things, and there's an actual carved bone found in Temple 1 of Tikal, in the tomb of Kasau Kawil, who was the great king of Tikal. And there are many, many bones. They're probably jaguar bones, but they might be human bones. Little slips of bone, about the size of a knitting needle, a little thicker. And two of them have guys paddling a canoe filled with people that are going like this. This pose is called, woe is me. Hoi vey, yeah, that's good. And you always see it at funerals. It's just like when you see pictures of Greek funerals, all the ladies are going like this, pulling their hair. It's what you do at funerals. This is the woe is me. And these people are in a canoe, and so two of them show the paddlers with these guys in the canoe, and two more show the canoes sinking. So these guys are going, woo, down into the water. This, we assume, means part of the journey of the dead is to be paddled out into the middle of this lake and then sink into it. Because it was buried in a tomb, and they're doing this gesture we associate with with sadness and with funerals. And the guys paddling the canoes are always the stingray spine paddler in the front and the jaguar paddler in the back. And that's about all we know. They're mentioned in a few texts, but they always are sort of like participants in a ceremony. I'm not sure if they're always funeral ceremonies. They're also, by the way, the paddler gods here. See this thing? This is a jaguar's eye. That's the word for throne, and that's the word for stone. These guys placed one of the three stones of creation. When the Maya talk about the creation of the world, they say one god put a stone here, another god put a stone here, another god put a stone here, and those three stones are the tripod, the basis of all creation of the world. And the reason they do that, and we'll hopefully get to the slide that shows it, is that when the Maya built a fire to cook on, they'd cook on a platter on top of three stones with a fire pit underneath. And the first thing you do when you build a house is you build a kitchen so that your workers can eat while they're working. And that kitchen, the centerpiece of the kitchen, is those three stones. And so placing the three stones is the first event of building a house, and it's the first event of building a universe. And one of the guys that placed these stones was actually a pair of guys, the paddlers. And that's about all we know. But there's a lot of literature, and we say things like we know what we're talking about. Trust me, we know about as much as I just explained about most of this stuff, and it's very much guesswork. And there's
a challenge you want to take.
Yes, I know a little bit more than you do, but not a whole lot. Yes,
You know the tool that they use, sandstone is soft, so it was like chiseling. Or
yes, we have two pictures of guys carving. The nicest hard stone they have is jade, and we have a lot of jade blades that look like they were chisels. They also could carve limestone with obsidian, which is much cheaper than jade, but much more likely to break. But in fact, the best material is flint. If you take, in fact, I made my own flint carving tools once. I was in Texas. I had a piece of nice Texas limestone. I wanted to carve it, and I hadn't brought my carving tools. But I knew the Maya had used stone tools, and so Texas is also full of flint. And I got some chunks of flint. I found them by the side of the road, and I threw them on the sidewalk till they broke. And when they broke, sometimes they broke with sharp corners. And I could use those pieces of flint to carve the limestone. I mean, that's how primitive it was. I had no idea of that.
You must have been a Mayan.
In my future, yes, in my past life or my future life. In any case, there's pictures of people carving, and some of them carve with a tool that's curved. I don't have a photograph of it, but one of there's actually two images of this. One is Mixtec and one is Maya. The guy's holding a wooden handle. In the wooden handle is a tool shaped exactly like this, about the size and shape of my finger. A beaver's tooth looks like this. And a beaver's tooth can carve wood. They're actually carving wood in one of the pictures. And a beaver's tooth is also hard enough to carve limestone. And so you set a beaver's tooth or a capybara or some rodent into a handle, you have a tool that will carve stone. A very nice sharp tool, because the beavers keep it sharp, right? Their teeth sharpen each other. In any case, this guy here, you can see his, there we go, laser pointer. We can see this fellow here with this torch or this thing with flames coming out of it, coming out of his head. He's got a foot kind of like a, I don't know, an animal. But this god's name is Kawil. There's his name, Kawil. He's the god of abundance. He's the god of kings. He's coming out of this yellow snake. He's painted blue usually. Here's the torch, the flames I've painted red. This is all fake color so you can see it, okay? But there's the lower teeth of the snake. There's the upper jaw of the snake. And out of the mouth of the snake comes this guy, like this. And he's got a torch through his head. A very strange creature, but he was the god of abundance. And every king held a scepter carved in the shape of Kawil. That was sort of like the royal scepter shape. And if you go to San Francisco, you see this beautiful stela with an almost life-size woman. She's wearing a skirt and top that's made of beads of jade and a network. She's got a bone-shaped bar. The snake's curling out of the bottom, and he's coming through, and his mouth is opening up. And this Kawil comes out as big as she is. It's a really fabulous stela. Here's a close-up of it. And if you look at this thing closely, by the way, you go to San Francisco, look closely. Her eyeball, the pupil of her eye is drawn with little cross-hatching. I mean, it's only 1/4 inch across, and they've done every little fine detail. Anyway, oops, let's go back.